had therapy today, so I probably look a little puffy and like I've been crying because I have. Um, I want to try to condense this. I feel like now that we're putting these out, it's been like a month, I think, maybe even a little longer since my birthday. But now that we're doing these regularly, I feel like the editing is a lot. And right now we have the time because I don't have a ton of business, which is fine. Love to have more. And I think we're putting together a really solid plan for 2026 so that we could grow to the next level. Like, I cannot seem to get past the 5K mark, and that's okay. Um, I don't know. It's weird right now. My like monthly reoccurring revenue is enough, but like just barely. And I would love to push past that. I would love to be in a position where I can move away from having just enough. I'm supposed to be doing a case study around bankruptcy. One of my clients, they have an incredible financial education community for women, and I positioned this partnership between one of their guests who was on their podcast and them, who I've worked with for now almost a full year. Actually, I think maybe even a little over a year because we worked together first on their event in Chicago just as like a bit of a one-off. So I really have loved working with them, and we're supposed to be doing this case study, which is like so vulnerable for me, because I'm basically putting my truth around personal bankruptcy out into the world. And that's really uncomfortable because of like the position it puts me in. I genuinely feel like that would help other people who are considering this to maybe like take away some of the shame and just have a clear, like, I would love this. I would love to watch someone else who's like my age in entrepreneurship go through bankruptcy to be able to not feel so intimidated by the process maybe and like more informed. So I feel like this is really great content for everyone, all of us involved as a partnership, because we all want to build community in different ways. So it's very symbiotic, like everyone would have that connection point. But for whatever reason, I feel like it's a little bit more vulnerable for me than anyone else because I'm the one who's like sharing my story and like putting myself out there from a perspective that is definitely frowned upon. And so I just would like a little bit more handholding. So anyway, the reason I'm saying all of that is because a tiny part of me, last night I was talking with and she asked, like, would it at all be possible for you to not have to file bankruptcy? And I was like, well, yeah, if my business just like grew really, really fast in some capacity, I could just start reaching out and settling my debts in like one by one. And like theoretically, yeah, I could avoid bankruptcy still, theoretically, but I would need like a massive amount of cash to come in to be able to turn around and be like, okay, how much do I need to pay you to settle this debt? And how much do I need to pay you to settle this debt? And I could potentially do all of that. It's just, it would have to be like a big influx. And was like, well, let's just keep that open. Like, that's possible. Like, let's just hold that belief that that's still possible. And for a minute, I was kind of like, I wonder if that's why this like case study idea is sort of feeling like it's stalling out, because maybe what if I actually still could avoid bankruptcy? I would love that. I would love that. Which is only, it's just my ego that would love that. It's literally because I feel so much shame around the whole concept of it. And I would just love it if I could instead just like pay off debt by debt by debt and actually just not even have to do that. That would feel so much better to my ego. But, I'm trying to just like however it would go. And so I wanted to, I guess, just talk about how like this vlog has become such a space of like using my voice. So like I was kind of kicking off all of this around the topic of the vlog. As we've started putting them out there, I've noticed that editing is a lot. And like I said, right now, if I'm paying someone for 40 hours a week, I can afford to have them work on my silly vlog videos because we don't have enough business yet. But like at some point, my genuine hope is that like the business is so busy that there's like no time to be doing all this. Like this is, and even at that point, maybe there would be someone else that I would hire and we could expand. Like, I don't know, we'll see. But I've noticed that this is taking up like a good amount of time, which ideally at some point we wouldn't have. We would be too busy doing client work all the time, that there wouldn't be extra hours to be editing videos like this. And so in that same train of thought, I was thinking about how maybe the editing right now, I like the edits the way that we've been doing them because we're adding like photos and little like kind of like pop-up stuff. And I honestly want to continue that because I like being able to show like the photos from Portugal and the things that were applicable to like that storyline. But maybe ultimately we do less with this. Like we just start putting, like maybe it's enough to just ramble on and I don't need to be so, I don't know if, I guess polished. Maybe polished is the right thing. I just still kind of struggle in this gray space of wanting to be taken seriously and having this level of professionalism as a business owner that I've maintained throughout my whole identity as an entrepreneur. Like I've always maintained a very professional cadence, I guess. And a part of me is wondering if that's something that I'm letting go of a little. And I have. I mean, wow, have I? The way I used to be as a hairstylist in terms of professionalism, like I was almost a robot. I feel like I was almost, yeah, I was just very professional. And in a lot of ways that served me. And I have this narrative that attaches the level of financial success that I achieved in my first career with that level of professionalism. And so now doing things that are definitely far outside of my comfort zone in what I would define as professional, and then also being in this very challenging financial position, it feels like, well, that's because you're not very professional. And maybe like you have to do all this like cutesy editing to make sure that like the caliber of these vlogs that you're putting out, that like 5 people are watching, if that, has to be like so top tier. And it's kind of like, does it though? Like maybe it doesn't. Maybe like that's a area of focus that I can lean into around, I don't know, just the performance of that might be ready to shift. That feels uncomfortable. But I wanted to talk about actually, let me make my water's boiling. I'm making a little like water blend that I've been using with like as like a hair rinse, or I've even like drank it. I made an espresso martini with it and it was really delicious, but it's like herby water, which some would call tea, but it's kind of, I don't really think it is a tea. Like I'm having a hard time categorizing it because it's like cloves, cinnamon, and rosemary. And I know rosemary is really great for my hair. Like I feel like when I do like rosemary oil, my hair really has responded well to that. And then clove and cinnamon are very like warming and comforting, and I'm hoping are helping my root chakra a little bit, which I don't know if I recorded about all that. Anyway, I wanted to talk about this morning's Women's Circle. This is my second one. I love this space. It is so different, and yet also like not really that different at all from how I've envisioned this community to continue to grow. And I really feel this positivity around being on the right track. And it's interesting because I was explaining to my therapist, it felt almost like I've been on this 2 steps forward, 1 step back hamster wheel, where every time I feel like things are moving, there's like this like wave that comes and sits me back down. And it just feels like why is this not? I feel so inspired and clear on the vision that I have for myself and for this business and for my life. And I feel like I've really started to see that in a internal way. And then as soon as I try to take some action in one direction or another to create this for myself, it sort of feels like there's always like a roadblock or a detour or some other side quest that I have to go on before I can actually come back to like moving the needle forward. And I know that that's not entirely true because there has been forward progression. Even just with Commonwealth, I brought the podcast back. That was like a huge space of feeling stuck. And I think it was maybe in May that I brought it back. And now we're in October and we've been consistent and we've had great guests, and and actually so many of the guests have been new connections. And so it's bringing a new flavor into the podcast, and the conversations I feel like are just getting better and better and better. There is forward progress. I am seeing overall that momentum shift. The vlog, I mean, I know like right now it is itty bitty 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 bitty. I want to get over the attachment to the outcome around the vlog, around everything really, but the vlog is such a tangible thing to focus on because it is so, I guess disappointing, although I don't even know if disappointing is the right word. It feels embarrassing, although like, why? Like, I hope I can get over that soon. But there's like a level of embarrassment around putting out something, especially that's almost like the disconnect, like the level of editing, like it really, I feel like looks so good. Like it looks really well put together, polished. The audio is pretty good. The video is pretty good. Like the first ones were maybe a little less, but they're only getting better. I think I barely knew what I was doing. And yet we're still able to take them and like edit them in a way that I think is really pretty good quality, like what we would put out for clients. And so when we do all that work and we put it out and there's like 5 views, it is a little like, ooh, oh no, that sucks. But I'm trying to not care. Like it's not supposed to be about that. And I feel like ultimately it's not. But there's still that ego part of me that's like, it means something about me if we're not getting, I don't even know what would be an appropriate, like where would I feel good? Like 500 views, I guess. In my mind, 500 views, I would be like, wow, okay, that's 500 people. Like, why is that the number? Like, I mean, 5 people, like, that could be 5 entirely new people that I've never even met. Like, I mean, I hope to God it's not just my ex. I hope to God it's not just, but anyway, I hope it really is women that want to connect to my story and want to, even especially when it's such a low number, like, but there is just a level of, yeah, embarrassment, or I guess it's humility. I feel like I'm being served a little humility around like, you're not just gonna put this message out, whatever the message is. I mean, this week is a little interesting. That's actually relevant to the topic that I was talking through around finding my voice in our women's circle this morning, because this week I'm putting out an episode around the relationship I have with my mom. Yeah, and that feels heavy. And also, like, I touch on my religious conditioning. I talk about God, I think, quite a bit. That, for whatever reason, that area feels like, oh, I have not really experienced the inner dialogue that is coming up around sharing like that, because I haven't done it. I've been pretty quiet about that stuff. Yeah. So this morning during our women's circle, which these are small too, I've only had 2 of them. And I think today we had 10 registered, and last month I think we had 12. One woman emailed me this morning and was like, I'm so sorry I can't make it, and I'm very excited for December. And I thought it was so nice that she even bothered to like reach out and tell me that she wasn't going to be there. She's coming in December, and I don't know her. She was connected to the co-facilitator today. I sent her an email thanking her, and then her response back was just like, This is why I'm doing this. This is 100% why I'm doing this. And I don't care if it's one person at a time that I'm connecting with. I mean, I do though. That's the thing. Is like I want to not care. But there is still a part of me that's like, especially with the vlog, it feels so uncomfortable to share that because it's like a chicken and the egg challenge. Because in order to have more people view it, I have to share it more. And in order to share it more, I have to get over the fact that it hasn't been distributed in the ways that have created more views. That's on me. Have I really, really given it my all? No, because I'm still holding back. There's still a part of me that's like, I don't really want to talk about this all that much. So I'll just like little bit here by here share. Is that the right phrase? Here by here? That sounds weird. I want to get over that hesitation. Maybe I'm not fully ready because I'm not actively doing it, although we are starting to do like YouTube shorts and we're putting together like a vlog content calendar and there is movement. So again, that's what I want to be more focused on what I have created and done as I've shifted some of our community space over this last even just 6 months. That's pretty great. There's a lot of growth happening. And there's a lot of personal growth happening for me also. So sharing this week around finding my voice and hosting this women's circle, the second one, I pulled tarot cards. Again, I did this last month and it feels a little uncomfortable because it feels like I'm doing something that I don't have a ton of experience doing. But when I pulled them last month, they were dead on with, at least for me, they resonated with me. That was echoed back from participants who were on last month's circle. And then today, again, same thing. We had an awesome spread. I definitely thought each card resonated in a different way for me and my own experiences. And that was echoed back by the women who were in attendance and chose to share. So it does validate in a way, like, I guess my own experience around using a tool like this to help me further develop my intuition and then use that intuition to like guide me on my path, whether that's professionally or personally. And those tend to go like this. But also beyond that, it's like using my voice to actually speak on that. So I'm doing that with the vlog little by little, week by week. The topics and the things I'm sharing are a little bit more they're not as surface level. So, I'm getting into deeper topics, things that are like more significant to me and my starting over process and my just journey in life and what's made me who I am today in different ways. And that is really requiring me to lean into sharing my voice, even if it feels like no one's listening, which it feels like that for sure. So it's really uncomfortable. It's for me, pretty stretchy to just keep doing it over and over because, again, that's how, first of all, I grow as a person. The more you do something, you build your confidence around it. And when your confidence grows, your belief in whatever it is follows and gets stronger and stronger. And then from that belief, I genuinely believe you're able to create anything. Belief comes through confidence, and the confidence comes through putting the reps in and showing up over and over, even when it feels incredibly uncomfortable. That's what I'm doing, and I'm going to keep pushing myself in that direction, especially when it feels like I should just give up. I feel like if anything at all has been shown to me, it is that. When I absolutely feel like I should give up, I think that's when I double down. And there could be a lot of argument around that being from almost like white knuckling, which I've done in the past and it does not serve me. I've doubled down on things that were requiring like an extensive amount of effort. And those were the moments that I think I was not listening to the part of my intuition that was telling me to surrender and just let go. But now I'm doing things that actually really just light me up, like this women's circle and sharing these vlogs and putting more of myself into the business that I've built. And that feels really good, even though I could create a lot of narrative around this being pointless, or like I should be using my time elsewhere, or I mean, there's like proof of that in every area, but there's something internally that's like, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. And it doesn't feel like some of the things in the past that I've tried to control the outcome of it. It feels more almost like I'm going to trust this without forcing anything at all and just just see what happens. I'm still taking action. I'm not doing anything, but I'm stretching myself past my comfortability over and over and over. The opportunity to facilitate this way, to host these women's circles. And this was, something I had worked on through the summer, an outline of how this could all kind of fit together in an ecosystem almost of Commonwealth as this overarching umbrella, and finding common ground could live in that space but sort of be adjacent to it. And it's starting to feel even better and more clear than I had hoped it would. It's feeling like this absolutely can all live in the same space, and it can even thrive, and there's opportunity. I've held this community vision for so long, and I had almost like a taste of it with Independent Beauty Pros, and the way that I formatted the community initially, and the way that I built it in the beauty industry, and the summit that I held in Texas, and there were pieces of it that were really, really close. They were so close, but then there was still this disconnect. And now it's like, okay, I think I'm on track. It's starting to feel like the pieces are coming together, and we're connecting, we as in Commonwealth, but also like me individually as Lindsay, we're connecting with more and more women that are really aligned. I feel it in all the spaces. I feel it in the content that we're putting on the blog. I feel it in the women's circle. I feel it on the podcast. It's like all of these really amazing women, and by default, most likely because they found us through different entrepreneurial channels, they're going through these different sort of like healing journeys themselves, but they're also business owners. That's exactly where I am. It aligns with me in such a beautiful way, almost more so than the beauty industry did. As a hairstylist, this feels so much more connected to my soul and my purpose and what I genuinely want to like bring into the world through my own lens as an entrepreneur, not just, I hate even saying just a hairstylist. That's always something I've pushed away from, but I think I was really niched in the beauty industry as a hairstylist, and it didn't give me the same connection points, or I maybe didn't feel connected to that as much, whereas reaching more women in a broader, like open-ended identifier like entrepreneurship, we can work through the healing aspects no matter what our business model is, like what industry or what product or service that we provide. We are women who are on a healing journey of some sort and are entrepreneurs. Like that's almost like the third thing as opposed to with Independent Beauty Pros, that identifying mark of being an independent beauty pro was like the main thing. I like this flow better. I feel more aligned with this. So we'll see, but I loved the circle this morning. I absolutely loved being able to co-facilitate with, and then to intertwine all of our experiences and recognize just how valuable this 1 hour once a month is. It was absolutely expressed by others how valuable this is and how this is important, and that was then followed up by registration for November and December. This is important. This is important. If I'm connecting with women one at a time, okay, I love it, so I'll do it. As long as I can work through the parts of my ego that feel embarrassed to show up and say I'm starting over, or show up and say I'm starting something new or offering something that I haven't offered before, as long as I can get past that inner dialogue, there's a confidence that's coming, and I can keep building that, which will, of course, strengthen my belief in the vision that I have for the direction that I want to grow. And then it feels almost impossible to not have that happen. That's pretty cool. And it's, there's this song that's so popular right now. It's called Baby Steps. I think, I never know the names of artists, but it's Olivia something. I love it. Olivia Dean, maybe. I love the song. I love that whole album. I've listened to it a few times, but I love that song specifically because it's exactly how I feel this last year has been of my life. Just baby steps. And it is 2 steps forward, 1 step back sometimes. But at the same time, there's this, I can look back and recognize how much has really shifted and how much I've grown and how much Commonwealth has grown. And I really feel this momentum happening that comes from me continuing to show up in the ways that I have been and sharing more and more of my own authenticity and my truth, and trusting that doing so will only benefit my business, not diminish it or take away from its professionalism. The podcast episode that we put out, our guest emailed and was like, these graphics are incredible. And I really thought for a second, like, she has a great business. I wonder if she would ever hire us. Like, why wouldn't she? If she needs help with building her community and her content and maybe graphics, like, that's what I mean is like, why can't it be all? And it can. The answer is it can. We can offer great service as a consulting agency supporting women with their own community growth. And I can also open up vulnerably and share that I'm starting over and building my community. Like, all of that can be true. All of that can live together. And if anything, that will most likely only benefit all spaces, because I know, at least for myself, I want to work with others who are able to say, I'm doing this differently. I'm trying again. I'm sharing my process. Authenticity is what attracts me to work with someone. And so my hope would be that that would be the same in this space. As I continue to show up this way, my hope is that an entrepreneur would want to hire me to consult them on building authentic community because they see my authenticity in my own process. Like, duh. Why does that feel like a light bulb? But it does. And I'm really wanting to just trust all of these small moments that I'm currently putting the pieces into place and continuing to show up this way. They'll all add up. They already are. There's already expansion and shift happening. I can see it. It's very visible. I enjoy this. This is feeling creative and connecting and supportive, and I am looking for more of that in my life in all areas. So I want to lean into that when it shows up, and it's showing up this way now in the business through these other spaces that I maybe have felt hesitant to lean into. That's okay, but I'm going to keep going because it's feeling good. And I'm going to trust that that feeling is what's keeping me in alignment with my bigger purpose as an entrepreneur and as a woman. So I'm excited. I think that's enough. I noticed that in the idea of using my voice. It's a Libra new moon, so balance is like the scales balanced. There's like a harmony is the word that I have been trying to replace the word balance with, is this harmony between space. And sometimes I need to be a little bit more assertive in my voice and using my voice. And then other times I do feel like there's a softness and almost a surrender space of like, doesn't need to be said, it doesn't need to be said. Can you redirect? Sometimes I can, and sometimes I can't. And that creates I don't know if you heard that horn, but that creates opportunity for me to grow. And I definitely learned that because I felt very shameful and frustrated with myself about being so reactive, and nothing was solved because I think that's the consequence of being reactive. Every action has a reaction.